Will it? Okay, and then it does say recording. Okay, cool. Britt, you good?
Yep, I'm good.
Hey, and you sound good.
Thank you.
After not hearing you for like 3 minutes. All right, we go and get it cracking. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. Man, check this out. On this episode, what we're going to talk about is lying. More specifically, some of the lies that men tell. If you follow the podcast and you've been listening, you do know that a couple of months back at the time of this recording, I did an episode on Why You Gotta Lie. That was the title of the episode. And what was interesting about that episode was that, as you know, normal when you're talking about relationships and things of that nature, it always sparks a conversation on social media. Well, interestingly enough, my two co-hosts on this episode took somewhat umbrage about the lies that were being told on that particular podcast. So I said, hey, you know what? We need to come back and maybe do a podcast together, the three of us, and have a discussion about maybe some of the lies that they were told by men over the years. And you know, we're going to get a little bit into that business, just a little. But yeah, let me introduce my guests. They are no strangers to the show. First up, this young lady, she's been podcasting seemingly not that long, but she's got her own podcast and is off the ground and running. And she's been on here. We've talked music, but we're going to get a little bit into her business on this one. The host of I Can Talk About This All Day podcast, my girl Britt, is in the building. Britt, what up?
What's up? You can get in my business all you need to. I couldn't wait for this one. I'm about to let it all out.
Oh, Lord. And our other guest, again, no stranger to the show. She now has her own network. Her podcast went from being one thing to now it's several things. She is basically dove into women's sports, particularly women's college basketball, as well as the WNBA. She is the host of Jay's Quick Three. My homegirl, JBoog, is back in the building. Jay, what up?
What up? What's going on, 12 Kyle family? And you can get in my business a little bit. I'm not an open book, but we're gonna see how far we take it.
And you know, I
get down.
What I just peeped was, like, I didn't realize this, but all of us have on shirts from some of our favorite artists. JBoog, if you're watching on YouTube, JBoog has Janet Jackson, who used to be my girlfriend back in like 85. Shout out to Penny Gordon. She just had a birthday at the time of this recording. She just had a birthday. She turned 58.
58.
Yep.
She looks good for 50. She looks good for any age, but she looks good for 58.
Yeah.
And you know, Janet, if you're watching, you know, I'm married, but you know, I mean, if things don't go right, you know, I mean, holla at me, you know. And
you're gonna have your wife fighting you. You can't have Janet and Don.
Hey, listen, she knows she gonna lose. She gonna lose those battles. She knows she gonna lose those. That's not a win for her. And I mean, we got 23 years of marriage, but that's an L for her. She gonna come. Wow. Every woman's gonna come up short against Janet. Every woman. If you with a man and your man say he gonna leave you for Janet Jackson, I mean, like, you can't really be mad, can you?
That's true.
And if you're watching on YouTube, Britt's shirt has Purple Rain from the GOAT, Prince Rogers Nelson. And I didn't wear my Purple Rain shirt today. I thought about it.
I was gonna wear my Prince shirt today. I just changed. That would have been crazy.
My shirt is the album cover from a guy by the name of Kendrick Lamar. You may have heard of him. He recently buried Aubrey Drake Graham in a rap battle. But I mean, you guys have heard of it.
Drake. BBL.
Oh my gosh, that song is so funny. But yeah, we could talk music all day. All three of us are huge music heads. But we're going to save that discussion for another time. So we want to talk about some of the lies that's been told or men have told and maybe still telling. So Britt, I'll start with you. I know you heard the episode. It's been a while. What was there anything particular that you took from that episode that like made you say, that's not right? Or I've heard that before?
It has been a while. I'm trying to remember what exactly it was, but I know it was something talked about a divorce or that was on the episode, right?
Yeah, the guy said he told a woman basically that he was divorced, and he really wasn't divorced. He was in the process of getting a divorce, and I think that's what's on the.
Yeah.
So that stuck out because, I've been there. I've had that lie told to me too.
Okay, Jay, I see you nodding.
Yeah, same. I think that might be the one because what happened was we were talking about you and Britt, or Britt had said something, tweeted you about the episode. And then I saw it and I was like, yeah, I heard that one. And then Britt said something. I was like, yep, I heard that. That's the one I heard. And then we were just kind of going down the list. And then you were like, hey, no, we said maybe we need to just go on Kyle's show and just do a remix because like you should have been talking to women. That's what Britt said. You should have been talking to women when you did that episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the reason why I didn't talk to women was because I think I recorded it at like 1:00 in the morning. So that was one of those solo joints that, you just up and you're like, okay, here's something I saw. I could talk about it, so forth and so on. So let's go back, Britt. Okay, so the guy says did he tell you he's getting divorced or he was divorced?
He told me he was at the end of a divorce. Was not divorced at all. And it went further than it should have.
Meaning, what, the lie?
So,
here we go. Open book.
The thing is, I mean, here's liars, and the type of liar goes out this way because there's so many different liars, and it could go on forever. But they lied to me and told me they were pretty much divorced, right? It was over. They've gone through the process, XYZ, whatever. And this person lied so much that they made me think that the other person was crazy and they were manipulative and they were just this horrible person, basically to the point where I wouldn't confront them if given the opportunity to find out the truth. So I ended up having a relationship with this person, finding out way down the line amongst other lies and all this other stuff that they weren't actually divorced at the time. They had separated, but he asked for a divorce after meeting me. So, yeah. But the thing was too, his family, the enablers, backed him up, basically. Like, yeah, they've been over with and da-da-da-da-da, and she's this awful person because he lied to them. And nobody, because the way he was, nobody would ask questions and confront the other people because they didn't want to piss him off. So, like, oh, it must be true, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I ended up having a full-blown relationship with him, finding out later on that they, in fact, were not divorced.
Okay, so how long did that go before, like, from the time that you met him until you found out that he wasn't single? Unbeknownst to you.
It was years because at this point, they weren't living together. There was nothing. And everybody around him, nobody said like, yeah, they were actually married up until this point, blah, blah, blah. Nobody said anything to me. Probably out of fear for whatever with him. But I did not find out until years later, after we broke up, that they, in fact, were actually not divorced. So the divorce ended up being final, I think, 4 months into us dating. But he did not ask for the divorce until after meeting me.
So and you caused the divorce.
Look, if we were to go on the whole entire story, no, I was not the reason for the
I'm
divorce.
messing with you.
But I will say I've had multiple conversations with his ex-wife because she was told other stuff. So we kind of like got together and was like, okay, was this true? Was this just to close up that chapter of what was actually the truth and what did he tell you and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Yeah. So I know for a fact they didn't divorce until months after.
Shame. JBoog.
Right?
JBoog, I see you shaking your head. What happened with you?
Oh man. How deep do we want to get into this? How can I make this long story short? So I was friends with these, I worked with these two people. I was friends with the guy first, and then this girl started working with us. I became friends with her. They started dating. So we were always hanging out because we were friends. And so I would start to hang out with their friend group, which was a bunch of couples. So I was like, well, I'm not hanging out with a bunch of couples. I ain't gonna be no, fifth wheel, because everybody was coupled up, except for like 3 people, me and these 2 other guys. And so one guy in particular, I kept seeing all the time. And we had been hanging out for like a year by this point, like all of us just seeing the same. We always had the same weekend routine. We'll go hang out at somebody's house one day. The next day we'd be at the bar. The next day we'd be doing something else. So anyway.
And it's just on some cool out, not.
Yeah, all of us just hanging out.
Okay.
We just had the same routine. We meet at somebody's house and play cards. Friday nights and Saturday nights, we go to the bar and drink and whatever. So I met this dude again, hanging out.
Let's call him Earl.
Earl? No, because I dated an Earl. Just leave it. We'll just the
they
guy.
Still making Earls?
They make Earls.
I didn't know we were still making Earls these days.
Well, now he's a pastor, so that fits him, I think. Pastor Earl. Shout out to Pastor Earl if you're out there. Well, let's call him Jake. Jake from State Farm.
Okay.
So yeah. Jake. So yeah, I'll see Jake out. We're hanging out. We're cool. This is like a mixed group of people. Jake and I are Black or whatever. So we just naturally hang out, talk about stuff or whatever. And then it became me, my friend and her boyfriend, and me and Jake just hanging out, like whatever. And, whatever. Things, happen and, spending time together or whatever. Never knew. So we would go hang out, because we spent like 4th of July at his house. I knew he had kids. I knew he was previously married, because just through conversation, we would talk like, oh, you have, how many kids do you have or whatever. Yeah, I have, these many kids, I'm divorced is what he said. I'm divorced. Oh, okay. Yeah. And he was like, almost the same thing. She's a little crazy. I have, they tell you the story about like, he can't see his kids, or sometimes he can't see his kids, or sometimes she's crazy and he doesn't let her over here, whatever. So I'm just like, I'm not really caring, because nothing has happened. Like, we're just really just kicking it. And then eventually, I don't know, after hanging out like a couple of years, whatever. Right. And so, we have this situationship for about like off and on for about almost a year.
Okay.
We weren't in a relationship, because that's not what I wanted or whatever. We were just
Jay just gangster. She just don't settle down.
We was on the weekend. Like, he worked days, I worked nights, and we never could see each other during the week. We would literally only see each other on the weekend. Convenient for him. But so anyway, this is how it happened, ladies and gentlemen of 12 Kyle podcast. Now, my friend that's dating my other friend, this is they're best friends. So
Okay.
and the couples, all the guys like knew each other from like high school.
Okay.
So the ladies will hang out or whatever. The guys, they all knew each other. So people knew the truth, right? So after we've been kicking it a while, now I'm going over to the house I'm spending the night. We're a part of the couple group now, like technically showing up to the other friends' houses together and just hanging out, right? So one night I'm going to our bar where we normally go to, and I'm driving up to the bar, and I get a call from my friend. She says, I just want to let you know that Jake is here, but he brought his wife. And I said, his what? His wife. And she said, yeah. I said, okay, well, all right. And then she said, so are you still coming? And I was like, yeah, I'm in the parking lot. Yeah, I'll be right in there. And she was like, oh, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm here. This is what we do every, Saturday. I woke up, from my nap. I'm ready to go. I'm going in the bar. She was like, oh, okay. Now I'm like sitting in the car. I'm like, all right, what we about to do? What we about to do? Are we going to be cool or what are we going to do?
About to get gangster wild with it.
So go in there and I say, hey, everybody, what's going on? We have usually our big table that we sit around and stuff like that. Hey, what's going on? Just so happens the seat that's empty, right, is the seat next to her. Pretty lady and everything. So I sit down, what's up? And then he looks at me. I'm like, hey, Jake, what's going on? And he was like, nothing. Just hanging out. Oh, okay. And what's your name? I haven't seen you before. She says her name. I introduce myself. I was like, all right. So we're just drinking and I just drink, have a good time. I'm partying and I'm just asking her, girl, what do you do? What do you do for a living? Just making conversation. He's over there hot.
Yeah.
He is hot. And this is a long time ago. Back in the day when you almost like the Sidekick, but I think I had a different brand where you could flip the phone up. I had just got it because I lost my phone like the day before. And so when I opened it up, she's like, oh, can I see your phone? I was like, girl, yeah. Let's look at my phone. Like I'm flipping up. He was like, looking like, what? Yeah, you can look at messages and you can see pictures and you can do all this stuff or whatever. He's just like losing it. And so I do that or whatever. Obviously, he knows that this is done or whatever, right? So I just party and then I don't talk to him again for like 2 years. Like I just stopped. Like I would see him at the house. I wouldn't talk to him, even though everybody was hanging out. And then eventually I just stopped hanging out with them just because whatever. So probably about 2 years later, actually I had moved to Austin and I came back into Houston because this is when I was living in Houston. Came back to Houston. I don't know how we connected. I don't know if he texted me. Something happened. He was like, hey, if you're not doing anything, meet me at Papados or whatever. No, he was like, let's get a drink. And so I was like, well, all right, or whatever. I was like, how's that marriage working out? And he was like, when it's not, whatever. So, cause I'm not fully going to be going to hang out with anybody that's married. I just don't want to do that. Right. Anyway, we go have drinks and then, it's his birthday. And I'm like, well, why are you here by yourself on your birthday? And you just randomly text me or whatever. Oh, my friend said I was in town. That's what happened. She told him I was in town. That's why he texted me. And so then he was like, you just stopped talking to me for like 2.5 years. And I was like, yeah. He was like, why? I'm like, why? I was like, the wife that you told me that you were divorced from? Like, what are you talking about? He was like, well, we were separated. I was like, yeah, but I've been at your house for like multiple times during holidays, during whatever. Like, of course, she's not around. He was like, yeah, we just was separated, but I just wanted, one of his kids got sick or whatever. He was just like, I just wanted to try to keep the family together. He was like, I didn't think you would care. And I was like, you didn't think I would care that you were married? What? He was like, yeah, it was just, we were just hanging out. It wasn't like you didn't act like you didn't really want a relationship, but you were married. It didn't matter if I did or didn't. Like, I was like, you got to give me the choice. Don't do me like that. Like, let me know I'm separated. We might have a a chance to get together, I don't know, get back together, but let me make that choice. And if I decide I'm fine with that and we want to kick it, then we can, but don't do that to me. I was like, you made me look so stupid in front of your whole friend. And I went off on all of them too that next day. The whole friend group, because they all knew. I'm like, y'all all knew this whole year. We've been kicking it. And y'all didn't say anything. And then my friend was like, well, I mean, that ain't my business. If he ain't wanted to, I'm not going to air him out. Like, what you want me to do? Dude, in front of everybody, all the wives, all the couples, they're just like, oh, here's his side piece. She's just happy and grinning. Like nobody did anything. I was pissed, but yeah. So I hadn't talked to him since, I mean, it's been, I don't know how many years now, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was lie number one.
That's why. I mean, like, so much to unpack there. And Britt, I'm gonna come back to you in a second, but Jay, I gotta ask you, how did you keep your composure? Because, like, as you're telling this story, I'm like, okay, Jay about to get gangster wild at this spot, and she about to tell everything. She about to show the sidekick, show the messages, show the conversations, the whole nine. And you kept your cool. How and why did you do that?
Well, it wasn't her fault. Like, I don't know what they have going on. I didn't. Mm-hmm. It is what it. At this point, I've made the decision. Nothing's going to continue to happen. So I'm. What am I fighting for? Like, what am I? I'm just gonna make him sweat a little bit. Like he put me on blast. So yeah, I'm gonna get as close as I can to her. We're gonna share the phone. We're gonna talk over drinks. We're gonna high five. I'm gonna, yeah, I went on a date 2 weeks ago. We went to that hey, Rod, where did we go? It was me, you, and who was there? Like, just making them sweat. And then, I don't know why I did that, because I was like shocked more than anything, not necessarily embarrassed, but it was just like everybody knew.
Yeah, and you had it going on for like a year.
Yeah.
In that whole entire year, that situationship just...
He never mentioned her. I never saw her. He never, like, ever. And I would just not necessarily pop up, but I would be like, after the club.
Right.
2:00. Hey, what are you doing? I'm coming over there. Okay, whatever. I'll be there in 10 minutes or something like that. Like, nothing, no indication until he just decides to pop up and bring her to the club. I mean, to the bar. So, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. And Britt, I saw your reaction. You look as if some of these lies and these experiences have been common with you as well.
It's textbook. It is the script. Like, and when I say y'all, it's not all you meant, but y'all don't go far from the script at all. It's the same shit every time. It's not. Ugh. And then guys who do it all the time, they have their own script that it's just predictable. You can already tell what they're about to tell this woman, what they're about to tell that woman. Yeah.
So in your situation, Britt, I know you said it went on for so long. When we look back at it, were there any indications like that this lie was really, really going
on? Look, love bombing is real. And in the midst of all that, I was love bombed. I was given gifts. We went, and that's the other thing. We went.
Question: What is love bombing? I'm old man. I don't know.
Love you, and
when they overdo it.
Yeah, like, just you don't have a chance to even sit back and go, like, wait a second, like dropping off stuff at your job. Here's lunch. Here's this constantly. Here's a new pair of shoes. Hey, let's go out of town. Come meet my family. Da, 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 da. Why am I meeting your family? Like, it's one thing if you got family here that you're close with, and, but even then, why am I meeting them within the first like month and a half? And flew me out of town to go meet some of his favorite family members. And they all were, hey, da, 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 da. Knowing he really wasn't divorced, but they were, at this point, a month and a half in, they were separated. They were in the midst of starting that divorce. But what I knew was they were on the way out of that divorce, just done. So, yeah, when you have the love bombing and you got family members and friends, nobody's once just like Jay, nobody said anything. And here I am, and you all are smiling, and we're playing drinking games and cooking and doing a cookout and blah, 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 and taking me around to see the sights. And
that is wild. So Jay, when in that same scenario, I know you said you went off on your friends. How did those relationships turn out? I mean, like, are you still cool with them, or you don't really rock with them like that no more?
Like, once I left that whole situation, like, that was their thing. So, I mean, it's other stuff happened between me and the friend that I had or whatever, but it just wasn't something like I didn't see a need to be hanging out. I mean, they're couples and you know what I'm saying? And this whole thing, and I wasn't mad at the lady. Like, I don't expect them to tell me. I didn't even expect the dudes to tell me, even though we were cool. I did expect my friend who I had known and we worked with forever to tell me. So yeah, I was really, really pissed at him because I was like, you're the main one that made me look stupid. I can see if the guys don't want, like, I'm not their friend, so they're not going to be like, oh, let me tell you about Jake, whatever. You should have told me, because I would tell you if it was something else, if something was happening to you or whatever. He's like, yeah, well, I probably should have said something. I just wasn't, I don't know. That's not my place. And I was just like, okay. Can I defend him a little bit? I mean, you probably will. Go ahead. I know how y'all guys work. Go ahead, Kyle. Let me know.
Okay, hear me out, Jake. Okay, so you guys are friends, right? So there's a guy code. Like, you can't, even though y'all are friends, like, and it's really, what I'm saying is, it really depends on the friendship that he has with, what you say his name was? What did we say his name
Jake.
Was? Jake. It depends on the friendship that if Jake is his boy and you his homegirl, he can't tell Jake. I mean, like, he can't do that to Jake. He can't tell you because that's double crossing Jake. And I mean, like, it's a man law. You just can't do it.
So you can't tell Jake to be like, hey, don't talk to her. Like, okay, now it's kind of getting out of hand because y'all are together all the time. Like, I know you're still married. Don't do that. You can't tell your boy that.
But by that time, it sounds to me like y'all were already 2 feet in. Like, y'all were already.
It wasn't going to hurt my feeling. I mean,
what's worse?
What's worse? Showing up with your wife and embarrassing me in front of everybody, or telling me, you know what? We probably, me and my wife are thinking about maybe reconnecting a year prior or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There's never.
I mean, no, you're right. You're right there. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Britt.
It's never a good time to tell the truth, except for when, like, just do it. You're not going to find a time where, hey, this blow will be less, like, later on, or if you do it now, it'll be worse down the line, basically. But avoiding it just makes it worse.
Right.
Just say it up front. I've had that happen in a situation. Guy told me the truth. Now, it wasn't like, oh, there's another woman, but told me flat out, like, look, I'm not ready. I can't be the man that you deserve and blah, blah, blah. Boom. And of course that hurt, but I'd rather you tell me now than like 3 months down the line when we've connected more and now you want to tell me this. Just say it. It doesn't matter if it's going to hurt her feelings. You're going to be hurting her worse down the line.
So in your scenario, Britt, how long did it take? Or was it like, because Jay said she was done that night. Like, how did you linger around?
After we broke up, that they actually were married then.
Okay. So you found out later. Okay.
Yeah. I found out like way later, and it did make me view everybody different. I didn't fool with nobody. I mean, we were broken up, but I still, like, because we were together for years. So I did develop relationships with people, but I was like, oh, nah. Nobody could say anything.
See, y'all better than me. At that point,
I'm still mad about that now. I feel like texting my friend and be like, dude, For real.
Yeah, because I'm like this. If when I cut her off, I'm cutting y'all off too.
Mhm.
I can't. I just can't. Especially like Jay said, if you make me feel like I look like a fool in front of you, if you treated me like my name was Stanley and you played me in front of everybody, no, I can't. I gotta cut you off. I can't do it.
And I can't believe they were so nice to me. If it was my friend and I knew my friend was, I wouldn't say cheating on his wife because they were separated. I don't know. I just feel like they were too welcoming to me. Like,
yeah,
as the side piece, I'm with everybody all the time. I didn't know I was a side piece or whatever. We weren't even really together. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they knew he was married. Like, at least the guys knew. Maybe the wives didn't know, but the guys knew, and everybody like, hey, come on, we kicking it. But I'm like, why are you so welcoming? Like, is this something he does a lot? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? Why was I mean, I'm a good person. I'm cool. Like, people like me when I'm a good time when I hang out. But like, I don't know if I would be that welcoming.
Jay is a good time when she hangs out. I will say that.
It just baffles me. I don't know. Everybody was in on the line. The guy code.
But see, that's the thing. Okay, the guys didn't have to say anything, but the girls could have. Any of the girls could have.
If they knew. I mean, I don't know what they knew. I don't know what they knew. And
hard time believing that at least one of those guys pillow talks with their lady.
They knew.
They probably knew, but I guess I put the onus on the guy that I actually knew versus
it's on your friend.
A friend's wife.
Yeah.
They don't care. Maybe they didn't like the wife. I don't know.
That's very possible too.
They knew, but they couldn't say anything, especially once you got to the point where you were in that deep. They couldn't say nothing because I mean, like, hearts were on the line at that point, and you already you in there, so it's like, all right, well, if he get caught, he get caught. Maybe they didn't even view it as him getting caught because he was technically still married, but I mean they were separated. So, and who knows what he was telling them as far as the separation, because there's stages of separation. There's we separated, we going outside, or we seeing other people, or we getting divorced, or I've served the papers, or she served me the papers, I've moved out, whatever. But although you're still technically married, so I get where you're coming from, but I don't want to sound like I'm bumping for dude, because he, as a friend, if he's your boy, he should have said something, or at least giving you a heads up, like, I think he might be getting back with his old lady,
Or how about the guy himself say, hey, you know what?
I'm gonna do that.
Get my wife again. Instead of her showing up and finding out, knowing that this is where they go, this is what they do.
Yeah.
Let me just speaking for as a man, I'm almost 99.9% sure it wasn't his idea to bring her to the set. She came because she heard that they were going, and they had been going. She probably heard it a couple of times, and she was like, "Oh, well, I'm coming. Well, I want to go." And if he's trying to make
text like, "Hey," like
something,
like Jay wasn't going there. It wasn't like,
but that's the funny part though. If you hear how Jay described it, she was like, the friend was like, "Are you coming?" She was like, "Oh, I'm in the parking lot."
Yeah, I'm still going. You're not gonna ruin my night. Like, I'm still going in.
Yeah, so I thought Jay was gonna say she went in there and got gangster wild and just started everybody catching it.
I was talking about going to the phone, like a picture would slide up or something.
I mean, I was clicking on, like, I was going by the name, like I wanted him to see, because she was like right here next to me, and he was next to her, so I was like leaned in.
What was he doing when you were doing that?
Fidgeting.
He had to be sweating.
Hat under the collar, pounding down drinks. And then she got up to go to the bathroom, and he was like, "For real?" I was like, "Oh, what? So tell me." Let me in.
No. Why you got an attitude? For real? Why you got an attitude?
Nah. Hey, Jake, if you're watching or you're listening, you should have just thrown up and then said that would have been your excuse to go home. And be like, "Yo, I gotta throw up. We gotta go. We gotta go, man. My stomach hurts."
Oh man. Oh, Jake.
So, Britt, I know we talked about it before. Any other big lies that you've caught over the years in the dating game? Like, that ain't my child, or Yeah, that type of thing.
I don't even know if I can get into that one. That one I might have to just text y'all and let you in on that. Because the one thing, look, I'm afraid that because this person is crazy. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm afraid that this person will come back around to this episode. But there has been, I'll just say
there's no need to get into
it. There has been like, this child is mine. Ooh, you know what? It's not mine.
Mm-hmm.
But condoms wasn't theirs.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
It was in their backpack, but it was their brother's.
Oh, come on. Why do y'all tell the dumbest lie? Like, y'all don't even give us a benefit. Like, y'all don't even try.
Your brother try come around you. Like, y'all don't even get along, but it's your brothers and it's in your backpack. What? Your apartment.
I mean, if he had said it was Earl's, I mean, would you have believed that?
Leave Pastor Earl out.
Well,
leave Pastor Earl out of it, please.
If you had said it was Reggie's, if he'd have said it was Reggie's, his homeboy Reggie.
You could have told me it's the neighbors. You could have told me it's not your backpack. I don't care. I'm not going to believe it. Like, the fact of the matter is, we're all grown here, so we know. After a certain point, we weren't using them. So why do you even have them?
Yeah. So for you to have them in your possession, that's just...
But they're your brothers. And then you get mad at me for finding them.
I'm trying to picture lying on my brother like that. My brother be like, man, yo, what you doing?
Right. That's another one that stands out. Because I was just dumb.
What about you? What about you, Jay? Any other big lies you've been told over the years?
I mean, it's so many. It's just hard to pinpoint. I mean, most of mine have been the secret family, the fiance, or the girlfriend. I don't know. When I was younger, I used to say, do I have like the other woman on my forehead? Because what is it? I don't seek these guys out. They're coming to me, and we're just dating. Like, yeah, I'll be honest. When I was in my 20s, I wasn't trying to really settle down with anyone. So maybe I gave off that aura that is not going to be anything, which is another thing why the lies that they try to tell you to butter you up, how much they love you and all this other stuff, when really all they want to do is hit. I'm like, we can skip all. I don't need that. Like, are we or are we not? Like, just I don't need, you don't have to butter me up. Like, right. Let me know. I don't need the lies. Because after a while, you hear the same stuff you already know that is not. Like, either we're going to be in a relationship or not be in a relationship, but don't lie to me. You know what I'm saying? So I just had a bunch of that. I mean, it was several. Let me see. Gosh, the guy that I saw him, he didn't realize that the video we were watching was his proposal. So saw that.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I was too young to be embarrassed by this, but after he spent the night, we're just watching TV, right? And he's like, oh yeah, we did this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You got to watch this part or whatever he did when he went back home. And we're watching the video, and then he's just letting me play. He gets up and goes to the bathroom or whatever. So I'm not really paying attention, but I'm watching this video. I think it was like a video of something, like, I forgot what it was. He was like
on YouTube or something?
No. This is before Kyle.
Okay.
This is before YouTube. Okay. This was a VHS tape. It was something he recorded that he did. He was like a music major in when I went to when we were in college, and he was showing me something he had composed or something, like somebody was performing a piece that he did. Right? Not the proposal. It wasn't a proposal that we saw. It was her saying like, "Oh, look, we got engaged, whatever." So yeah, so I'm watching it, and I just happened to look up. He's walking in at this time, and then he's like, "Oh, wait, did you still playing it?" And then that's when it shows. She was like, I forgot the girl's. Well, I'm not going to tell her real name anyway, but whatever her name is. Definitely. Show him, girl. Look, let me see that finger. And she's like holding it up. I'm like, what? I had a lot of what moments. I'm like, what's going on? oh, stop. And this is the old VCR. You can't just, you pushing all the buttons trying to get the game to stop. It ain't stopping. That, the secret fiance that called my phone, because she found my number. This guy, I didn't even, he was a vendor at my job. Mm-hmm. My co-worker's like, oh, Danny, I don't even remember his name. Danny's cute. Like, I think y'all would be cute together. I'm like, nah, I'm good. No, y'all should. I asked him if he's married, if he is he with anybody. He said no. You should. He wants to take you out. So finally we get to get, like, he sees me and he's like talking or whatever. We exchange numbers. And this one was like a non-starter from the beginning. I already knew he was lying. Like, again, there's telltale signs. So he says, I'm going to take you out Friday. It was like a Tuesday. I'm going to take you out Friday. Tell me where you want to go. We'll get it together. Okay. So of course we talk Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you don't really hear from him. And so I'm like, well, what time did you say we were going? Texting him. I don't really hear anything. Huh. Okay. 5:00, nothing. 6:00, nothing. 7:00 when we were supposed to be going out, nothing. Right. So about 8:00, I'm like, well, I mean, I'm just about to go to the bar. Like, I'm skipping out on hanging out with my friends at the bar. So I'm just going to go do that or whatever. Monday. So Monday is when I finally hear from him. Hey, they do that little, hey, big head type of thing.
Hey, big head.
I'm like, what? And he's like, man, I'm so sorry. Like, my brother, I had to go get my brother. He was stranded. I had to leave Houston and go to Louisiana. Oh, okay. Your phone didn't work? Well, it was an emergency. I just got back. I'm so sorry. Look, this weekend we're going out. I promise you. You tell me wherever you want to go. I'm like, the same, where the same place I said, whatever, I get off at this time. If you want to go, because I'm down for a free meal. If you want to go, we can go. Here we go again. Talking to me every day up until Thursday this time. And at this point, I'm like, you know what? I'm not even entertaining this. I'm about to go about my weekend and don't care. Tuesday now, I get a text from him. Hey, no, don't hey. I said, please lose my number. I don't have time. What? No, don't do that. So I didn't talk to him. Like, nothing happened, right? Probably like a month later, I get a text from him, or from, I think it's him. And it's like, oh, I miss you so much and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, what are you talking about? He was like, well, I enjoyed our time that we spent together and hanging out. And I'm like, we never hung out. Did you not forget? I was like, are you on drugs? Like, are you drunk? What is going on? So we go back and forth a little bit. I was like, please, didn't I tell you to lose my number? Why are you talking to me? Like, nothing, we never went out. You kept standing me up. I moved on or whatever. And then that's when it was like, this is so-and-so's fiance. I'm going through his phone and I found like 7 different, all these different names. So I'm texting them to see what they're going to say. She was like, you were the only one that was like, what are you talking about? He's like, but he's been messing around on me. I'm so sorry. I was like, well, I'm sorry. That's your experience, but can you please delete my phone delete my number out of this phone, because I don't want to be a part of that. But it was just stuff. It's like stupid stuff. Like, if you were engaged or you can't hang out, then don't. Why? I was doing my own thing. I didn't approach you. So it's stupid stuff like that. It's just textbook. So after a while, like, my tolerance level is just, at this point, I ain't got no tolerance level. It's not. I just assume you're lying. Anytime I talk to anybody, you just have to prove me wrong.
Britt, I see you shaking your head. So I had I remember one of my first scenarios that I saw here when I moved to Atlanta back in 97. I didn't know anybody. It was just me and my man Jay Fresh. And I never forget, we went to this spot called Atlanta Live. And Atlanta Live was like the premier club in Atlanta. And I mean, like, I felt underdressed because, like, I just had on like the collar shirt and some slacks or whatever. I mean, it was dudes in like 3-piece suits. And I distinctly remember a guy, we were standing at the bar. I was like, Jay Fresh was here. I was standing right here, and the guy was standing next to me. And he ordered a drink. And when he went to reach for the drink, he reached for the drink with his left hand. And he realized that his wedding ring was on his finger. And as he got the drink, he said, "Oh, shit, I forgot to take it off." And I looked, and he took his ring off and put it in his pocket. And again, I'm fresh out of college. This is new to me. I'm new to the city. I don't know nobody but Jay Fresh. And we both kind of looked at each other like, yo, is this what type of time these dudes on around here? So, Jay, have you run into that where the guy, he's married and he just goes all out of his way, either you or maybe friends or anything, just goes out of his way and everybody knows that he is married and he goes out of his way to say that he's not, but he really is?
Do I know somebody like that? I'm sure.
And Britt, you too, both of you.
I don't know if I personally know anybody like that because I think they know that I would be like, dude, don't do that around me. Like, don't do that. I don't know. I knew guys that cheated on their girlfriends. Like, I mean, I knew that, but they weren't married. They weren't married men. They were definitely taken. But
what about you, Britt?
Maybe not directly with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do know there's been a couple of guys who have gone in my DMs and like, hey, yeah, I've always thought you were cute. I want to take you out sometime, blah, 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 blah. And then like 2 weeks later, there's wedding pictures on Facebook. And 2 months later, there's an engagement picture. Like, are y'all testing it to see if you still got it? Or like, I don't know what it is. Right. But I've had that happen. I've had that happen. Now, it wasn't a marriage thing, but back in the day when I was dating a boyfriend at the time, his best friend was like the friend that if you could find a friend that of a boyfriend or girlfriend that you hated because they were just not a good person, he was it. He was a club promoter and used that. So like he had a different girl at the club every single time. But I've gone out to dinner with her, the girlfriend and him. But it would be like I'd see her like a couple of times and they were breaking up off and on. But he constantly had a different girl every time he was at the club. And I didn't prefer to hang around him at all. I didn't want to be associated with him because I thought he was a horrible person. And then, I think he got caught up or something. And so I don't know, but like, I've seen it happen to other people.
What about have either of you come across the guy with that lied about the secret kid? Didn't you? And not that you had an issue with the man having a child, but you know, if you got, it's one thing if you got a 7 or 8 year old, but you know, right. I meet you and you got 2 kids and they're like 3 and 2. You probably still with that baby mama or baby mamas.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all had any scenarios like that where that's been that lie?
I usually find out about the kid. I mean, I haven't. At least I didn't know it. The lie never was revealed to me if they ended up having a kid and I didn't know about it. But most of the ones I think I knew about the kids.
I don't think that wasn't the lie about the kid. Wasn't the lie. Knew about the kid. In fact, they used the kid to get my attention. And I'm sitting waiting for my class. I got like a whole nother hour, and this kid just comes walking up to me and starts.
What?
Yeah, like a 2-year-old, I think, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Not him using a kid. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's impressive.
He's like, I look up and he's on the bench, like further down, like. But then, and then after that, he was constantly like there because he knew what time, what day, like I'm there. And like, oh yeah, let's go out to eat, let's do this, blah blah blah, and I'll drive you. It's not his car, it's the baby mama's car, and he tried to tell me they weren't together, blah blah, but he's trying to drive me around in her car. And I'm sorry, a Kia is not really like this bubbly, like bug looking type car. It's not really a girl car. And you got some girly things within the car. Yeah. And so
that
after
get you beat up too. You riding around in some other woman's car, that can get you beat up.
Oh my God. Like, yeah. So once I realized, and I mean, we weren't like dating. He was trying to get at me, and like he would just sit on the bench and talk to me. And then after a few days, he like offered to take me to go have lunch in between classes, whatever. So I said, yeah. And I got in that car and I was like, baby mom's car. Because then he didn't have the car the week after. Gee, I wonder why.
It was her turn to push the fly ass Kia.
Nothing wrong with a Kia, but I'm just saying.
No, nothing wrong with a Kia.
A guy like that, and it was probably like it was a girly looking car. It wasn't one of those truck looking Kia. It was. It looked like a VW Bug, is what it looked.
Oh, a girl. It was. So you're right. It was a girl's car. That's a difference.
Car, but like getting in there and then seeing like some of the lotion and stuff just sitting in there, I was like, "This ain't you. This ain't you."
Lotion.
But yeah, he
pretty funny
to get to me.
Wow. What about you, Jay? Any lying about kids or the kid pop up or anything like that?
No, I didn't really. My lies, like I said, stayed with fiancés, girlfriends, and wives. I never, for the most part, like other than like the regular lies, they try to tell you to get to talk to them and stuff like that, like the little white lies and stuff. But no, I never had any. Like I said, no kids that because I try to. I mean, if I'm going to date someone, I try to get to know them. I assume that if I know their friends, I would know them a little bit better. Obviously, that's not a thing. So it's not. How?
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I guess. Well, and I'm different because I'm married, and washed. But like, if you want to know me, I mean, other than listening to this podcast, this fine podcast here, yeah, you would have to know Jay Fresh. You have to know Zell. You have to know Derek, my boys, my homegirl, Dr. Jamel. Like, those are the people that really, really know me. So I would. And here's the thing. I've always said, like, if I want you to get to know me, and if I see something long term, I'm definitely introducing you to my friends. I think most guys do that. You're not convinced.
I mean, it doesn't matter at this point. But
Jay's looking at it like she's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
No, my grandma. When I thought about, well, there's so many. When she said the lotion thing, that set something off. And then I thought about how my grandma hooked me up with a liar, which clearly she didn't know what she was doing. I got played by my grandma.
Hold on, okay.
Rest
so
in
you gotta
peace.
tell that story. What did grandma do?
She didn't hook us up, but she said you need to meet. I would go to my grandma's house. I didn't have a car. Like this my freshman year? Freshman or sophomore year? I don't remember. I think freshman year. I didn't have a car. So my cousin would come pick me up from campus and take me back to Houston, and I would either stay with him or I'll stay at my grandma's house.
Okay.
For the weekend. And so it was Easter. That's what it was. My grandma wanted me to come go to church with her for Easter. And then she was like, your cousin to take you back. So I was like, all right, I'll have, him come pick me up or whatever. And then we went to church, and then my cousin was like, oh, I can't, like, I'm doing something. I can't take you back. And then my grandma was going to go, but then she was talking to her best friend. She's like, oh, so-and-so's son goes to that same school. You should ride with him. First of all, let me tell y'all, I mean, most people I'm sure listening to this are a little older or whatever. You're not young, super, super young, but don't do this. I definitely would not suggest my granddaughter get in some car with some man she doesn't know and drive 2 hours back to school, but whatever. That's what happened. So she was like, yeah, drive back with him. He's going back. He'll pick you up, blah, blah, blah. So immediately, as soon as I get in the car, like, he's trying to lay it on thick, not like harassing or touching me, but it's like, yeah, I do this, whatever, blah, 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 this and that, just kind of trying to impress me. And I'm literally like, how long do we have until we get,
2 hours.
back? Yeah. Like, a long time. So we end up like, he was like, yeah, if you're not busy, we can hang out sometimes, do whatever. So, we started hanging out, not dating.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, my bad.
Nope, I'm listening.
Okay. He was, not dating, but just kicking it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at the library for my work study. Right. And I had my friends there. There was this girl, can't remember her name. Again, I'm not going to say her real name. Say it's Kathy. Me and Kathy, cool. No, she's a graduate student. I'm a freshman, but we hang out whenever we work together. We're cool. And so, dude picks me up, takes me to weird places for dates. Like it was, I'm sure I went to a trap house a couple of times. I didn't know it was a trap house, but I believe that's what it was. We had a couple of dinner dates, nothing too crazy, right? But he would still like call me and like, what are you doing after class? I'll come have lunch with you or whatever, right? One day, me and Kathy are talking and she's been telling me about her fiance, off and on or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Now, I stayed at his house one time and I felt like just creepy because he didn't have any furniture. It was just an air mattress and his dog. And I'm just like, why am I here? Like, what decisions am I making as a 19-year-old? What are we doing here? Let's get this together. So I'm talking to her. Fast forward, I started to talk to her and she's telling me, oh yeah, I got a new apartment. Me and him got a new apartment. We're moving, blah, 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 blah. Like he moved all his furniture in, but I want to get new furniture. I don't want to use his furniture, but his furniture is there now. I'm like, oh, okay. And she keeps talking and she says, yeah, he's from Houston, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Still talking. And then she mentions his name and she was Ed or whatever. And she's like, yeah, Ed is coming to pick me up. And I was like, Ed from Houston? What? Okay, who's Ed? Look. So she describes it. And I'm like, so he moved his furniture into your place. So does he still have a place? And she's like, yeah, he still has his place. His lease is not up until blah, 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 blah. Does Ed have a dog? And she was like, yeah. How do you know? And then my other friend was sitting there and she was like, girl. I was like, wait a minute. Ed so-and-so. From Houston. His mom is named blah, 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 blah. She was like, yeah. I was like, girl. Wow. That's who I was talking to in the back when I went to break. Like he's been calling me. I was like, we just went to lunch yesterday. She was like, what? And they've been engaged for like 2 years or some crazy stuff like that. And so, of course, my friend was like, you know what y'all should do? Y'all should catch him. She was like, you invite him up here. Because he didn't know I worked at the library. Because if he knew I worked at the library, he would know I know her. She was like, you need to tell him to meet you somewhere. And then Kathy comes down. And then, or y'all come down together. You really need to get him or whatever. So I was like, do you want to do this? And she was like, oh, yeah, I want to catch him. Yeah, let's do it. So I call him and I'm like, what you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I get off work at this time. Can you meet me at this building? Pick me up and take me to go eat. He was like, yeah, I come do that. And so, of course, I go with her. We walk to the spot. He drives up. He looks. And then he like drives. He drives away.
I don't blame him. I kept driving too.
And then I never heard from him again. I don't know what happened with them. I saw her like years later. She was with somebody else and married or whatever, like years and years later. But yeah. So I was like, Grandma, don't ever do that again. Please don't. Next time you think about, don't do that.
That's shout out to Grandma. But yeah, salute to Ed for avoiding all conflict. I ain't mad at you, Ed.
He was like, no, I'm not doing it.
And listen, all you would have seen was Sid marks on my car. Like, yo, this KD filled out for real. Before we get you guys out of here, I gotta ask one last question. And I'll start first with you, Britt. If you had to leave this episode, if you could leave some quote unquote advice to the men that are listening and watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. What advice would you give them when it comes to lying?
Don't lie. Just tell the truth. Because lying, you're selfish and you don't realize how much you're actually taking away from somebody else. And speaking from experience, all the lies that was told from that one divorce situation I had wasted years of my life. In the long, it wasted years of my life. Like, because that person was so selfish and just lie about everything. But if you had been upfront, they were selfish. They wanted their own thing. But if he had been upfront and said like, hey, I'm actually thinking of leaving my wife. Yeah, I would have been on my merry way. But you're giving me that choice. If I want to go ahead and hang tough with you while you go through this, and then like when you're done, then I'll be on the other side. Or that's all she wrote. But not telling the truth makes you a liar and makes you selfish. Tell the truth. It's gonna hurt, and it probably won't feel good hurting somebody else, but it's way better than telling a lie and then it just
facts.
Yeah.
Big facts. Jay, what about you? What advice would you give to the loyal listeners and viewers of this fine podcast?
Guys, whatever bright ideas you have in your head, do the opposite of that. And it'll probably work out better for you. Yeah. As it pertains to women. Because what you think we think, or what you think might happen, or what you assume is probably wrong for most people. Not all guys. Some guys get it right and they know what they're doing. But the guys that I've had experiences with don't. And it's just don't do it. There's no need to lie. There's no need to make anything up. There's no need for the stories. There's no need for the extra information that we don't need. There's none of that. Just be straight up, be honest. And if that doesn't get you the girl, then go find somebody else. Like, there's plenty of women that probably will be down with whatever it is that you're down with, but y'all spend a lot of time trying to be the nice guy when you're really the villain. Like, don't just be yourself. and
anybody who likes villains.
Yeah. Some people will. I mean, some people, honesty will probably get you a longer way. Like, if you say, this is what I want, like she was saying, someone told her, like, I'm not ready for a relationship. Okay. So then I don't have to worry about getting my feelings involved. But if you're acting and treating me like we're on a date, and you're always around, like she says, love bombing, when that's not what you want.
Right.
And then the moment the girl gets feelings, then you act like she's the crazy one. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So
that right there. Yes.
That part.
You want to call us crazy, but you do all this shit to make us think one way, and then you flip it on us. And then when we got something to say and we going in on you, oh, she's crazy.
Well,
what?
You're right.
No. Okay, I'm gonna say, Kyle, don't even start with well.
Hey, I feel like I was about to get jumped on my own podcast. Chill. Let me fall back a little bit. That is actually some great perspective, and I appreciate it. And I'm glad we did this episode, because I think you guys offer definitely a different perspective. I have stories to tell. Some stories I can't tell, but yeah, I think it's a very interesting concept, and I agree. If honesty, it's better. It's the best policy, because like, it's just not worth it. Because once you make that lie, you got to stand on that lie, and you got to keep perpetuating.
And y'all are bad at it. Why? Okay, here's a question before we leave, Kyle. Why do y'all go through all that? Like, it just seems like it's more work to lie than to be honest. And then what's your end goal? I mean, I guess you probably can't answer that. You weren't that type of guy. But what's the end goal? Because if you're going to go through all this trouble, have a headache of a girl because now she's bothered because now you're cold to her, when you went through all this work to try to get her, just to, I guess, hit it a few times and move on to somebody else? Like, what's the end goal? Just why do y'all put yourselves through all that trouble?
I can answer that because I haven't always been married.
Okay.
And I'm not speaking from experience. Well, actually, when I was young, I did dumb stuff. But I think what it is that there's a lot of guys who think, and it goes back to something that both of you said individually. There are a lot of guys who think that women think the same. And so, like, in their minds, they're thinking, okay, well, I got this one over on Jay 2 years ago or 6 months ago. I can get Britt on the same thing. And it's not even really about a woman's intuition. It's just, like you said, it's just common sense. I mean, if I meet you, Britt, if I meet you and you say, look, and I tell you straight up on day one, like, I ain't interested in a relationship. I'm just trying to have a good time. Then you know what time I'm on. So, like, you got to make that decision whether or not you're willing to go on that route, or just you can piece it up and we can go our separate ways. And I think guys, that there's one or two that when they tell that story or when they say that, make that statement, they feel like the girl is going to walk away. And they feel like, okay, well, hey, I told this lie to this other girl the other day and I got it. So I know I can do this to her. And no two women think alike. So, and I think that's a mistake that a lot of men make. They assume that everybody thinks the same and is going to react the same. And like Jay said, you can be on the woman can be on the same time as you. Oh, you ain't trying to be serious. Oh, I ain't trying to be serious either. We can just make this physical. Okay, cool. That's where we at. That's how we rocking. And I think that can be fine if that's what y'all on. But you know, there's a lot of times guys send mixed signals, and you know, it's easier to stand on the truth than it is to lie. But I mean, that's perspective coming from a 51-year-old man as opposed. Now, if you'd asked me at 21, I might have given you a different answer.
I feel like they're almost disappointed because I've been in those situations. I had a guy tell me that I act like the dude because I was just like, okay, you don't have to stay. Like, you can go. Like, I would like to finish, going to sleep. Like, you don't have to, you don't need to be here in the morning. And he was mad. Like, so, I mean, it's almost like they want you to want them, or, want to chase, and all that stuff. So even if they're not on that time, they want you to, I guess, be infatuated with them. So when they find out that you're not, it's almost like they're not interested. When they have the prize is right there. If that's what is that what your end goal was? Like, why are we beating around the bush?
Well, you know what it is everybody wants to feel wanted and everything like that. But I mean, like, but
you don't want me.
Well, not like that.
So why does it matter?
Like Luther said, if only for one night. That's it.
I'm pulling out the Luther.
Man, Luther. This is actually leading into a whole nother conversation. We can really talk about this for a couple more hours. But before we get out of here, Britt, tell folks where they can find you, where they can find the podcast, where they can hit you up, the whole nine.
Wherever you listen to podcasts, I can talk about this all day. And Twitter X, if you call it, I don't know. I think X,
she always says it.
X disappeared. Yeah, really. People hype about X disappeared, but Britty 18 on there is where you can find me.
And when does the podcast come out?
Every Friday.
There you go. Subscribe. You can find it anywhere you get podcasts. What about you, Jay? Tell the folks where they can find you.
Sorry, my dog is on my lap being crazy.
Which dog is that?
This is Onyx. This is the crazy one.
What's up, Onyx? Yeah, he don't look crazy.
There you go.
He don't look.
I'm talking about my special baby. You can find me on, I don't call it X, it's Twitter. His mama calls him Twitter. I'm calling him Twitter. At J's Quick 3 Pod, JS Quick 3.com. JS Quick 3 POD. But you can, I really would rather you find me at the J Spot Network on YouTube. You can search that, that'll pop up. I have everything on there. Some of my podcasts are on there, but as Kyle says, if you're interested in women's sports, mainly basketball, WNBA, college women's sports, come check me out. I've been doing a lot of dope collabs, and I have tabs. I have all kind of playlists on there. So the shows that me and Britt do, we collabed and we do what's your top 10. So I have a playlist for that. I think we've done more episodes, but I've been trash and I have not put them out. But we still got one more to drop. But our latest one we did top 10 Missy songs. But yeah, we've done Janet, Missy, TLC, SWV, and then we got another one that's going to be coming out next week. And we got the bonus Missy that I was supposed to put that out yesterday. It was ready to. Okay, it's going to be out.
Be out by the time you hear this episode.
Yeah, but check us out on my YouTube, and then when I'm done being trash, I'm going to put the audio out so y'all can hear it on my podcast. But yeah, come check me out.
Okay. Well, you guys been listening and watching. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. You can catch the 12 Kyle podcast. We drop an episode every Thursday at midnight. From time to time, we drop bonus episodes on Sundays at midnight. Be sure to subscribe. You can catch me on YouTube. There's audio and video of every episode. What else? Socials. You can find me on Twitter X, Facebook, Instagram at 12 Kyle, Threads, 12 Kyle Podcast as well, and 12 Kyle Podcast has its own TikTok page. If you feel so inclined, you want to throw a couple of dollars my way, I'm gonna take it because I'm broke. $TWELVEKYLE. And if you'd like, we do have merch. 12 Kyle Podcast has merch. We have t-shirts, hoodies, posters, as well as mugs. And there is a merch link in the description box. So that's going to do it for us. So for my girl Jay and my girl Britt, I am your boy 12 Kyle. This has been another edition of the 12 Kyle Podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to catch us next time. We will catch you next time. 5 G's.
Peace.